Hello, guys, and welcome to Mark Tully, the Vernal, where we talk about real life situations so you can relate to them, the mental health and personal development tools that you can use to overcome them and reach your full potential. This is an extremely exciting day today, ladies and gentlemen, or just gentlemen as the case may be. We have two amazing men right here, the founders of a brand new app called Mansupport. And I have connected with them, and I honestly can say they have changed my life. Just being real, we're going to get really real here today, ladies and gentlemen. It's fucking hard what I'm doing, because there's so much of it I've never done before. Everywhere I turn for a good, probably 2 years now, was a lesson, Like I couldn't just do something. I've been a sparky for 20 years, so I'm used to earning my bread, and learning small bits, obviously, but you know the majority of it, right? So having guys with the passion and the attitude and literally pouring their hearts and their souls and not a small fortune, an absolute fortune into this, could have bought a house overseas if they wanted, but instead they're doing this with the aim to change the world, to change the men's mental health stigma in Australia. And I'm really excited to be a part of it. It's definitely helped spur me on when, times get tough and all the rest of it, just to know there is other men out there doing the similar sort of work. So yeah, first of all, thank you to Mike and Adriano. And yeah, Adriano, if you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you. How you going, everyone? Yes, I'm Adriano, co-founder of Mansupport. It is very, very fucking exciting. It is. So yeah, I cannot wait to share this with you, Mark. You're an amazing man, and it's great to be working with you and having you on board with with helping men get through this and break the stigma and better themselves. Personal development is a big thing and we need it. And yeah, so no, thank you, mate.
Yeah, for sure. It's amazing. My favorite part of my journey so far is the people that you meet, and you two are right up there. So yeah,
Thank you.
Mike, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit? Give us a bit of a spin.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. My name is Mike. I'm obviously the other founder of Mansupport. Thanks for having us on, Mark. It's a really important topic. I'm just, well, I was going to say I'm just your average man, but in many ways I am. But there's no such thing as an average man, right? I
Yeah.
was a guy who sort of spent his time trying to pursue success and thought my happiness and identity would come that way, and things fell apart. And in a situation now where I've got to redefine what it means to be content and happy, and it's a big journey. Adriano's been a big part of that, and the development of Mansupport's been a big part of that. And we're hoping that journey and that development of the app will help other people.
That's
Wow,
right.
I love that. Redefining what it means to be content and happy. Isn't that absolutely exceptional? And that's where many men may find themselves on your app, right? Looking for exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an
Absolutely.
amazing feat that you guys are doing. Before we go into what the app is and how it's going to change the world and what it's capable of for men and obviously women as well, right? Because if the men are less stressed and happier and alive, then the women benefit too, right? So before we get into the app, what it's capable of and how it's going to change the world
Yeah.
and how it's going to benefit men so much and the depth of it, the vast spectrum that it covers from, men needing mental health support, men in like the worst, on the brink of the worst, to men who are CEOs of, $100 million companies and they just want to level up. It really is everything and everything in between in any situation that a man might find themselves in. Before we get into the details of that, Adriano, please share with us what happened in your life to lead you to start this amazing feat.
Right. So, all right. So, we all go through something in life, right? We all struggle. We all
Yeah.
have challenges, daily challenges, family battles, financial battles, the stress. For myself, my battle basically started when my mum was diagnosed with cancer. And so, yeah, I started with, obviously the stress, the build up to what's going to happen. Everyone's giving her time. Doctors are saying she's got a couple years, and you know, couple months, and it was just like it was very like your life changed overnight, right?
Yeah.
So, you're living with this like you wake up in the morning and you're feeling fine, you're going to work and you're like, it's all good. And then by the end of the afternoon, you're getting a call and it changed your whole life around in a second. So it all started back then. And it puts a lot of pressure on the person who you are, your family, and your current relationship, so your marriage. As a man, like for myself, you try to keep it together, and you're like, yeah, okay, no worries, we got this, and you try and toughen up. Right. And you're like, no, you've got to be strong. You got to keep going. And you got to do it for your father and you got to do it for your mother because she needs to see that her kids are strong whilst they're battling through this this time. So yeah, it started there and it just sort of got, really busy quickly between hospital visits and, family, and you're trying to manage work, family, hospital. You're finding that you've got your time, no time. You're finding you got no time left because you're battling, and then your emotional sort of feelings go out the window because you're busy at that time focusing on this sort of stuff, but we're not dealing with it ourselves because it's just repeat, keep going. Because,
Yep.
we can't show emotion. We have to stay strong. We have
Mm.
to, keep our face and keep smiling and keep moving. But whilst we're dying inside, we can't show that. So it started there. And then, you know, uh, I had my father then have a stroke during that time too. So it shows the pressure that you're going through and you're holding because my mum's got cancer. She's in hospitals. My father's trying to keep a home, keep business running, and then found himself having a stroke. And so then all of a sudden, your life again is just gone. Like, what else? Please stop. You're going, please. Like, what are you doing? Stop now. That's enough. It doesn't. It just kept getting worse and worse. And, you know,
Yep.
family struggles start happening. So you start to, you've got no time already. And then you're not making enough time for your partner, for your wife, and your kids. So then all of a sudden that question, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? It's what about us? So again, our feelings and our issues become pushed to the back and get silenced, uh, and we can't show emotions, so we've got to keep pushing.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys break, and I broke. I broke. My mum was battling for 4 years, and yeah, so it was, and my marriage was failing because there was just no time. I had my father. It was trying to just, gets out of hospital and he wants to get back to work because he's lost all this time,
Yeah.
and his focus was just trying to, keep the house going, keep money flowing to try and survive. So he never really healed himself and he still hasn't, I don't believe. And, so yeah, the when the problems start in your home and your doors, you know, you you've got so much going on in your mind where you want to be there, right? You want to be there for your kids, you want to be there for your family, you want to keep providing, with everything you got. And then it just takes, little things happen and you end up sidetracking, and for me it was a problem. Once the family started to break down, my marriage started to break down. I, was trying to do everything I could to try and save it. But then things started happening. There was substance abuse that came into it, and something that I've been very against my whole life. I used to DJ and
Yeah.
a lot of things, and
Sure.
it wasn't anything that was substance abuse was like it wasn't something that I was interested in. I had my drinks, and and that's all I cared about was music and DJing and making people happy. But that was, years ago. So it's never been a big part of my life. And I always try and help people not do it, but when you're in a state where you don't even know you're lost, you're battling, you've got, your mum passed away, your father's had a stroke, there's your marriage is going down the drain because, they're not finding support from you, so they're gonna go look for it somewhere else, right? Um, so you're like, "What am I doing?" It's so much pressure happening where you end up falling into a trap, and having a mate come over with a bottle of scotch and a couple bags of cocaine is not going to fix it, right? It's actually going to make it worse. So that's where the decline and it all sort of started happening, where I found myself trying to numb the pain,
Yep.
and yeah, so with the divorce and separation and, you know, getting locked up, all this sort of stuff happening, and it's not in my nature, like it's not something that I'm used to, right? So copying all this and trying to get through it and it sends your mind crazy. So it led me to like a place that uh, you know, I never sort of thought I'd be. And yeah, so you know, today I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Definitely. After all this, and there was a dark time, Mark, where me to the an edge of the rock. So yeah, and it's just things that you when you don't cope, you can't cope, you're seeing everything falling apart, you don't have your kids, you basically feel like you've got nothing left to give, and you don't want your kids to grow up and see you in a bad position. You don't want them seeing you, coming to visit their father and their dad's, gone, out of it, sleeping, no time, doesn't know what to do because his brain's not working, right? Because you're just, you're not doing the right thing by yourself, for yourself. And how can you look after your kids and family when you can't look after yourself? So I didn't want my kids seeing that, and I didn't want conversations, so I thought in my head was like the best way was to not be around, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And it's, yeah, but it's, it's all we learn. It's hurdles that come in life, and we just got to get through them. We battle and we try and find what it is we can do to better ourselves. I believe that I was blessed, you know, to go through what I went through and to be put in a position where it was the end for me. I think that I'm blessed that I'm here because I'm now able to help others, potentially from getting to that state, and it's so
Yeah.
powerful that like it's so good. I'll tell you now, like the feeling I have, the promise that I've made, the last time I was there, I made a promise and I'll never return. The only time I will return is to put a plaque, with our Mansupport name there and a number, and I want to save you. And we're here to do that. And it's gonna be a great journey. Mike has been a rock for me from the time I met him. I broke down and he was just like, he never knew me, bro. He's like, who's this guy breaking down? You know what I mean? But like, man, I just turned into this like a baby almost, you know what I mean? And
Right.
Mike's been my rock, and I've got a new partner in my life who has been by my side from the first time she met me. She met me at my worst. So, you know, for the men out there are women that you know, they're there. They're really, there are good women out there that will support you and help
Yeah.
you through this time. And that's what you want. You want to, you know, you want to have that. You need that, especially when you don't sort of have too much around you as a man. You know, you ring your mates, like I said, you ring your mate, he'll come over with things that aren't good for you. And this is what I want to teach guys. If you know you've got a mate that's not doing well, alcohol and drugs is not the answer.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. And because it can lead them to the edge of the rock. And I'm proof of that. So you know, and I'll put my hand up and I'll say it, and I'm not ashamed to say it. It is, you know, at first it's sort of hard to speak, but you know, the pain that I have is just knowing that I'm it's knowing that I could have left my kids behind, you know, like
Yeah. Wow.
these moments that I have with my girls now, like I see them, you know, on a weekly basis. You know what I mean? I get every week. I see them Saturdays, and they sleep over every 2 weeks. Man, that is just that's something that you know, yeah, it's amazing for me, and that's just a very small time, but it's enough for them to know that I'm here, and I'm here for them, and I'll do everything I can to support them and you know, show them that I'm their dad and I love them, and I'm not going anywhere, man. Not. I'm
Yeah.
I'm here to push through, and if and you know, Mike and I, man, we can't wait to be able to, you know, to hear that story that you know, man support saved our life, and you know, and that is that's what it's all about, man. Like we're not, yeah,
Yeah.
it-
Thank you. Thank you so much for that
yeah,
heartfelt, amazing share of extremely stressful and traumatic time for yourself, and it took you to the edge, took you to the brink, but you came back, you bounced back, bounced forward. In fact, that's actually a book written by somebody else. But anyway, they bounced forward into a position of, you know, doing the best thing a human being can do for another human or other humans, and that's help. It's what defines us as the alpha. It's not being smarter or any of this. We're actually lame animals. It's the connection and helping each other, sharing
yeah.
information and tools. And this is the essence of being a human. So doing it on a mass scale is absolutely, completely profound. And having this amazing story behind it all as well is just, it's touching. It's got me just feeling all sorts of emotions, you know, like fe- feeling for you. And go ahead.
No, like so it is crazy. It's you know, talking about it, you get so many different emotions go through your body, right? Because like it's just one of those things I didn't expect to be where I was, and I didn't expect to be where I am today. So, you know, and it's having, you know, good mates, having those couple good mates. You don't need 1,000 mates. There was another
No.
guy, yeah, from church. I think you know, this guy Jason, he was another real big impact in my life. You know, he came around one night. I think he came around one night. I was in my ute. I was sitting in my ute for like 4 or 5 hours because I was getting home and I was watching my kids leave the house with, you know, with the ex, and like I didn't even get to say hello, you know, and yeah, I that was one. I think that was the first time actually when I was like saw that. And as a father, you're you know, to see your kids leaving your house, you know,
Mhm.
and being able to come and give you a cuddle or a kiss, um, it's yeah, it kills you. It kills. It's a different level of hurt, you know. So that night, I think I got home at 4, and I sat inside the ute. Ute was running. I was sort of blanked out. I just didn't want to do anything. And man, I remember, you know, I was just sitting there in a dark cloud, and I had this guy banging on the window in the ute, and I was like, you know, he's trying to open the door. So I was like, "What's going on?" And he's grabbed me. He goes, "What's going on?" Well, he saw me and he like, yeah, he prayed. He grabbed me and I cried for a bit. So and that was the first sort of. And he looked over me for a bit. And it is important to have really good mates that can or someone that you can talk to and connect with on a this sort of level, right? Like you need someone that you can trust. Um,
Yeah.
that was yeah, that was the first time that bad feeling, that dark cloud came over me, and I
Mm,
didn't know what to do. So it is scary because I'm a pretty strong bloke, and I've been brought up in an Italian family, construction. Mate, started working at bloody, 13, 14 years old. I was on the tools, and your weekends are with your dad on a job site. And, if you had a problem, your dad would turn around and go, "Hey, I'll give you a 4B2 across the head and we'll see what the problem is." You know what I mean? So it was like, there, or have a teaspoon of cement and harden the fuck up. And they're the comments that, you'd hear. So there was no
yeah.
time for cry. There was no time, for that sort of stuff. So, yeah, to be where I am now, it's a massive change. It's massive.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible to see, and I'm absolutely very grateful and honored to be a part of it. And I really can't wait for what the future holds for the impact we can create. And the app that you guys have founded and put together is, yeah, it's very, very exciting. And yeah, I thank you for the share, brother. It got very touching. I'm sure there's a
Thanks.
lot to relate from many men because there was a lot in there. You know what I mean? You nearly hit all the buttons.
100%.
Mike, please, please do share something from your story, bro.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Yeah, it's amazing to hear that from Adriano. I've heard a lot of it before, but just hearing it again is quite touching. But look, my story is similar in many ways, but different, and I think that's probably the same for all men who go through things. There's some common threads. But for me, look, I thought everything was going well, and if you asked people on the outside, they thought everything was going well for me. I had a nice house, I drove a nice car, I had a career that was doing well. I had 2 kids and a wife, and, I kinda had the postcard of what life is supposed to be, but I wasn't happy. I think I'd hitched my wagon, in terms of happiness to success, and as I found success, it didn't make me happy, and as other things began to sort of fall away, so my marriage wasn't quite so good anymore, and some of those pillars weren't there for me, I didn't know what to do. And there's probably 2 choices I had at that point. As I felt destabilized and unhappy and I wasn't grounded anymore, I kinda had 2 choices, and one was to connect more with other people, and the other was to isolate. In hindsight, the right thing to do was connect, but I did the opposite, I isolated. So, I decided to work harder. I thought that if I worked harder and was more successful, that would make me happier, but it didn't, and the harder I worked, the less I slept, the more stressed I got. Things just got worse and worse and worse. I don't think I realized how bad they were. I was trying to tell myself everything was good. Eventually, as I said, I wasn't sleeping, I was depressed. But if my mates asked me how I was going, and I did have mates, right? So this is it. There's a bit of a fallacy that if you have mates, you'll be all right. My mates said, "Hey, how you doing?" And I said, "I'm good. How about you?" And they said, "I'm good." That's what we all said because, as Adriano mentioned, as a man, there's sort of a feeling like to be a success, you have to appear tough, that you're not soft. So they asked me the question, and I told them I was doing well, but I wasn't. I wasn't doing well by any stretch of the imagination. Things got gradually worse, and before I knew it, I had a substance addiction to add to depression and lack of sleep. And I managed to hold all of that together somehow for a little while, and eventually it all came unraveled. It came unraveled. It became obvious that I had a problem. I had to put my hand up. But in the meantime, I ended up losing my job. I ended up marriage over the next sort of year or two ended up collapsing and we got separated. Things were really, really bad. I too had some very dark places. And I think that if I was a single man and I didn't have my kids to think about, I may well not be here. I didn't come close because I kept saying to myself, you can't do that to your kids. You just can't leave your kids with that thought of you. So that got me through. But eventually I got professional help. And, in terms of my depression and addiction, I got help for those. I eventually got work back. Life started to head up. And eventually, too, I went through the tough time of the separation and divorce. And that's really tough for a bloke. There's not a lot of resources out there that are easily accessible and don't cost a lot of money. And so I went through that as well, pretty much by myself. But look, eventually that was all done and life started to head up. I met a new partner who I've now married to, and I've got 2 new stepkids. Life is great, but it was a
Yeah.
tough road. And the hard part that I think about is that, you know, I was really close to everything being so bad in terms of losing my life, and no one knew. And I don't want
Mhm.
that to happen to anybody again.
Yep.
I don't want somebody to be at rock bottom and no one knows about it,
Yep.
right? People need to know about it if you're getting not at rock bottom, but you're on your way down.
100%.
So that's what hopefully Man Support will help. The opposite, as I said, the opposite of sort of health in terms of social health, mental health, the opposite of addiction, all of that is connection with other people. And sometimes it is hard to connect to those who you're closest to. So if we can provide some help from other men that have been through similar stuff and professional help and preventative strategies to stop all of this happening, then hopefully we can make a difference. And, the other side of that is the irony of all of that. I couldn't talk to my mates, but I had this bloke called Adriano come and build me a pizza oven. And this bloke turned up and he loved a bit of a chat. And we got talking about things. And he mentioned that he was separated and things were a bit tough. And sort of half an hour later, the tools were down. And I think luckily I wasn't paying him by the hour, but the tools were down, and the next thing we spent a hell of a long time talking about actually what was really going on in our lives and how tough it is to be a
Yeah.
bloke going through things. And it's crazy that I couldn't talk to my best mates about some of this stuff, and yet, I was telling this bloke everything that had gone on, and he was telling me everything that had gone on. And after a little while, we came to the conclusion: isn't this crazy? Wouldn't it be great if there was a resource out there that could help men through this stuff, so men felt like they could have a connection in dark times, and not in dark times. If you're in a great time, you can get on and help other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about positivity. It's about men helping men. It's about lifting up. It's not about. It's absolutely not about putting women down. In fact, it's quite the
No,
opposite.
that's right.
If men are happy, relationships are happy, families are happy,
Yep.
kids are happy. We want everyone to be happy, and we want it to be a positive space. But it was just ironic that I couldn't do it to my closest mates. But Adriana and I sort of bonded over that, and we decided to do something about it. And that's where
Yep.
Man Support came about.
How fucking amazing. 2 very established men who are terrific in their own right before this app then found themselves in a situation where they stumbled upon a stranger, essentially. And that was the difference. That was what helped them really start to turn things around. Am I right in saying that, guys?
Yes.
Absolutely.
100%.
Wow. Isn't that? It's a beautiful connection and a beautiful story you have there. I'm really interested in what you said there, though, Mike, because you couldn't say it to your friends. Why do you think that is?
Look, they all seem to be so successful and so happy,
Mm,
and I didn't want to be the odd one out. Maybe if one of the others had gone through a tough time, I would have felt it was easier to connect. But I felt like I was the one who would look like a bit of a loser if I put my hand up. They were all so
Yeah.
successful. The irony now is that with a lot of water under the bridge, I have a really close relationship with my mates now, and I know that their lives aren't perfect. Everybody's got stuff, right? The natural trajectory of life is that life has its ups and downs. Like in every day, there's ups and downs, and over a month, there's ups and downs, and then over years, there's bigger ups and downs. And the one thing I've learned is that if you're in a trajectory where things have been going down, generally speaking, the good news about that is it means that things are about to head back up again, right? But sometimes you need help to get there.
yep.
So we just want to provide that help and support to get there.
Yeah, I love that you shared that because you're actually combating the exact situation by saying that because it's relatability. You lacked relatability. You thought you would have been the odd one out, which is our tribal instinct of if we don't fit in, we get kicked out of the tribe. And if you get kicked out of the tribe 50,000 years ago, you died. So that part of our brain still exists, right? Like people die of loneliness. It's not like an old wife's tale. It's psychologically and biologically fact. So yeah, you not been able to share with your friends because of the social media effect of our lives. Even without social media, we always think that, oh, that it's all right for that guy. He's he's doing amazing. But the fact of the matter is that 99.9% of people have had a shit time in their life. The only people that haven't got trauma are dead. You know what I mean? It's everybody, and the more we talk, the better it is to for everybody to have that relatability, right? Because then it's going to be easier for Mike to talk and not to have to, just stumble upon a stranger. Because how many people get to stumble upon a beautiful stranger like Adriano? This is the fact of the matter. A lot of people don't, and
Yep.
then it just continues to go down. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, and thanks for having that, because there will be a lot of guys in the situation exactly the same with Adriano. I'm loving this for the impact it's going to have already.
Hmm.
I need to take a breath because I'm just like, I don't know if I'm excited or like sad about the stories or whatever. But yeah, let's start talking about the app then, gentlemen. Adriano, if you would like to, start with your favorite feature, say.
Yeah, look, well, you know, you said something before, stumble across good people like, myself, Mike, and myself. Well, you stumbled across Man Support now. So the app is there and it's built by us, and everything we believe in, and what we believe will help. So, you know, it's designed as a peer-to-peer app, and guys can just jump on and on anonymously or with their name if they want to jump on, and there's like daily check-ins, your daily activities, mood journal. We want people to write down how they're feeling, tell their story to themselves, write it. If they want to share it, they can, or they can keep it locked away. It's sort of like a little diary, you know what I mean, for a bloke. um you have your positive affirmations. We're going to have some videos on there for personal development, like yourself, Mark. You're going to be,
I know, guy. I know.
a guy. He's really, really good. So he's going to be on the app, which is very exciting. But yeah, so basically, we wanted something easy. It can go in every man's pocket. It can be used at any time, any place, anywhere. It's Australia wide, nationwide. It's gonna be phenomenal. There's so much that you can learn. You can learn anything really on that page, right, Mike? We can
Absolutely.
You're gonna have one door that leads to many doors, and you'll have groups. Um the groups will be on there. So, if you want to find a mate, there'll be other guys out there looking for a mate. There's a group for that. You can put in your area. You can start your own group. Um, you talk basically about anything and help other men go through. You may have gone through something like myself and Mike, and yourself, Mark, and we've got our own page there, and we want to jump on to help someone else. We don't need to know who they are. We don't need to know where they're from. It doesn't really matter. We're men. It's for all walks of life. We all bleed the same, man. We all feel the same pain sometimes. The idea is to just get people on there talking, reaching out to each other. Then
Yep.
it goes from talking to looking for a job. There's a job search section there. You know what I mean? If you've got a business and you want to advertise and you're looking for someone, for example, Wollongong. I'm in Wollongong, or I'm in Canberra. I'm looking for somebody. Someone on that app is looking for a job. And that's a bloke that you're about to help get back on his feet. You know what I mean? So there's so much potential for growth with this app, and to help other men out there. But obviously the main stuff there is we're gonna have a place, a safe space for men. They can
Yep.
find therapists, counselors. I think Mike, Lifeline, I believe, is one of our organizations jumping on board, which is massive.
Absolutely. Yep.
So
Yeah, it's tremendous.
Yeah, there's going to be support from all over Australia, and the idea is to not stop, is to get it as big as we can, and I'll let you take it, Mike, from here.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I would like to say one thing quickly. I think you raised a good point there, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but you can be on the app and you pick your name, don't you? So you could be anonymous, so you don't have to expose yourself. You can just be on
Yeah,
the app, talking, helping, doing whatever. You can, because that exposure, that like putting yourself out there can be the hardest step, right? As you, whereas if you can do it as Mr. Anonymous or, you know, like Mr. Whoever, Mr. Happy, Mr. Sad, Mr. Funny, something, whatever you want to pick yourself, Mickey Mouse, like, you can come in and talk. It's like the famous question, asking for a mate, but what happens if you do this and you do that? You
yeah,
can do it from that level, right? I'm
that's
asking for
right.
a mate and nobody will ever
Yeah, I
know.
think that's a really important part of the app. It's a really
Yeah.
important part of the app.
Yeah,
And, and the other thing too is me as Mickey Mouse and you might be Donald Duck, we can become mates. We sort of have some common issues and, you can sort of have friends on the app. So I can see when Donald Duck's online, you can send messages, you can sort of, so you can connect that way in the app. So you can be connected, but you can also be anonymous.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is, it's the connection. Actually, a guy, Sam Parker, he is the founder of Grab Life by the Balls, a charity that I did a podcast with February this year. It's been a big year of firsts. Here's one of them in many ways. He thought it was the opening up and the talking. After doing some research and speaking to the guys that come into his group, now like the charity basically they get like guys in areas that run barbecues and things for men to physically meet up, which is another aspect of your app as well. And maybe there can be a collaboration there. But he found it was just the connection. Didn't even have to share what they were going through, just get that connection, which links back to the last podcast, episode 19. Sorry, the latest released one at this point in recording this one was Dr. Mark Williams. He talks about human connection is the number one thing you can do for every aspect of your life. Stress, your immune system, your cardiovascular, so physically fitter if you have human connection than when you don't. Live 10 to 15 years longer, less chance of Alzheimer's and other sort of mental health diseases that people typically get when they're older. So all these things, just crazy. Everything. And I asked him outright, like out of the breath works and therapies, professional help, life coaches like myself, everything, ice baths, and what's the number? And he says by far the number one thing, that just the human connection. So yeah, that is, if someone's feeling down and they just want to talk to somebody, and I think it's really important, and we already have in a roundabout way, but just to summarize it, like, you're not that special. Your situation that you're in, right? We all think we are. I know I've been there. I've wished I'm not wanting to be on this planet at a very young age. And I didn't, because my mother was trying it and I knew how that felt. And I thought about the people around me that love me, my family and stuff. And I was a child. I was like 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old. But anyway, you think it's you're the only one that feels like this, and your story might be unique, yeah, like where you live and the color of the wall and the path you walk to work and like the shoes you wear, but your fingerprints. But that's it. It's only 4 trauma responses. The human brain's actually pretty predictable. A lot of people, a lot of men have felt the way you felt. So if somebody's trapped in their story, then they feel like they can't talk to anybody around them, and they come on the app and just have their name or not, and they can start talking to people and stuff. And yeah, that is going to be absolutely amazing part of it. Mike, would you like to speak into another feature that you really like?
Yeah, I think we focused a lot on the mental health side, and that's huge. That's a very, very big part of the app. We've also talked a little bit about it, sort of divorce separation. But when you first join the app, we want this to be support not just for men in crisis, but support for men who are experiencing anything.
Yep.
Right. So you can, when you join up, it says, what are you interested in? Or what issues do you want to be a part of? What groups do you want to get involved in here? And it gives you lots of options. For example, mental health, depression, divorce, separation, custody, addiction. issues, fitness, domestic violence, anger management. So there's lots of different things that you might be interested in. You may or may not be in crisis. You might, for example, just need more information about the legal aspects of custody.
Yes.
But in fact, you're mentally quite well, but you just need some information.
Yeah.
We will connect you with other guys that have been through that, and they'll help you with the information. We'll also, for example, have webinars from lawyers, family lawyers, who will be able to direct you through that, and you'll be able to get a ticket and join those webinars. You'll be able to attend in-person events with other people doing, been through the same thing. So it's personalised. It's not. We're not saying everybody, for example, has a mental health issue or is in crisis. Some people do, and that's a very important part of the app. But I don't want the app to be pigeonholed. That's all it's for. It's essentially for helping men through any issue that they have,
That's right.
whether or not you're doing well or you're in crisis. In fact, we'd like to prevent you being in crisis by making sure you're well connected and have the information at your fingertips.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's fantastic. This is going back to what I said at the start, like the full spectrum of life, isn't it? It really is.
Mm.
And even you can create the communities and stuff. I like that, how that's free, obviously, like me, myself being on there as personal development for men, and I'll be using it for personal things and the business, so that's how flexible it is. It's got both things on there.
Yeah.
Adriano, is there another feature you'd like to talk into?
Yeah. So with the there's a support section there, support page. So you click on that, you can chat to AI. So, if you're in the it's like anything, it's you can ask anything you want if you need it. Guys can use it for, if just to sort of, ask for advice or what to do, or you can use it, for little projects around the house. Like it's a full AI setup that's implemented on the app, and it's free to use. Exploring the app, you have there's so much. Mike was saying, how we have these little get-togethers or seminars, and I believe, Mark, you'll be doing a few of these as well. So,
Yep,
we're going to have
absolutely.
events. There'll be events linked on the pages, and you can join. There might be fishing trips, golf days. Daddy's Day Out is something quite big. I think for me, I've got, I had two young girls at the time, 5 and 4, or 4 and 3. Oh God. And yeah, not knowing what to do. As a dad, being on your own, single father, what do I do with my kids? I've got my girls, I've got my boys, or whatever it is. What do I do? Where do I go? So having an app now, there might be, you jump on and be like, all right, there's going to be a Daddy's Day Out coming up, barbecue, rides, food, you name it, it's going to be there. And you'd be like, you know what, I'm going to bring my kids there, we'll do prizes, giveaways, you name it. It's going to have everything. The app is free to use, but there is obviously, we've got to keep the app running and the app costs. So the idea is to have a member section, which we have, and that member platform will be for, guys looking for a deal, getting a deal. They save money on other businesses, partners that join up. They might be selling tires or, hats or, the gurneys, washing builders, whatever it is, right? No business is rejected here. All business is welcome. So having something there and build a community for men and having a place where they can get a bit of a deal, discount here and there by being a member, which is it's a small fee, but, it opens up, it gives them access to use the platform to save a ton of money. And we can do, the idea of this app is sky's the limit, right? So the more users, the bigger it becomes, the more options that we'll have, the more organizations, businesses that will jump on board, which gives more back to the community. The aim obviously is to help a guy in need, help a mate, find a mate, save a life is the main aim. But we want to we've got a platform where we can basically give that to everyone in their pocket. And there's so many features on here, and I'll leave Mike with one of them. It's the best one. This is probably the most important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So look, when you sign up, Mark, one of the important things that you can do is nominate a sort of a next of kin. So I might nominate Adriano, for example, and put his name and number in there. Obviously, we want you to have checked out, checked with that person that they're happy. This becomes important because one of the main features of the app is an SOS button. So if you are in distress for whatever reason, there is an SOS button. It's right in the middle of the app at the bottom of the screen on any screen that you're in the app. If you press that button, it gives you essentially a set of traffic lights to look at. You've got red, orange, and green. We'll start from the bottom. Green will sort of basically say that, look, I'm feeling okay, but I just want to chat to somebody. And that'll take you through to our chat groups and chat rooms and give you some help that way. Orange says, look, I'm in distress, but I'm not in a sort of dire situation, but I'm in distress. I need to speak to professional help. And that'll give you some links through to resources such as Lifeline and Men's Line, for example. And importantly, there's a red traffic light kind of button there. So if you're in real distress, the sort of distress that Adriano's been through and I've been close to as well, you can hit that button. And what it'll do is it will help dial emergency services for you. So it'll get you through to the help you need in terms of emergency services. AAA will be called. But the other important thing that will happen is that your location and name will be sent to your next of kin, and then they'll be told that you're in distress. So someone will know, and
yeah,
someone can come and give you support. We hope that the combination of linking people in extremis to emergency services and also to their next of kin will really help save some lives.
Yeah, wow. That is amazing, isn't it? Having
yeah,
that feature there for everything we've already spoken about as well, like men in distress, and you nearly at this situation where you didn't want to be here and you couldn't talk to your best mates, and having that button there just to, because you might feel like, and then you get the three options, you might, "Well, actually, you know what, I'm not there yet, but I want to talk to somebody,"
yeah.
and yeah, you put them through to the right sort of people. That is absolutely, yeah, it's really fills my heart to hear that that's going to be on the app. It is on the app, isn't it? Because it's out now, isn't it?
It's out. Yeah, so the app is out, and it's there to be seen. You can look at it, you can join, you can partner, and if you like what we do, if you believe that you can impact, bring people together and help, and build this community. It's definitely, yeah, it's there. It's ready.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd just like to say it's certainly there. At the moment, we're sort of in a situation where it's there and developed, but we're looking to add a lot more content to it in the next few
Exactly.
months. We're sort of we'll do a proper launch of the app when we believe all of the content is there, but certainly at the moment it's there that you can sort of download and check out the platform, as it looks as an app. But there will be a lot more content and a lot more
Yeah,
partners on by the time we launch.
Yeah.
100%. And I think it'll be good, like if they want to download, jump on and start a group, test it out, guys. You know what I mean? Test it out, start a group, get a few guys on, um, and start talking. You know what I mean? And you never know, your little group is on there, and another group will jump on, and your group might be able to help someone else straight away.
Save a life. Yeah.
Yeah, and we build from there. One thing though is we want everyone to understand that it is a safe place. Okay, so we don't condone hate and no comments like that.
Yeah.
We don't want to, we don't want guys getting on there, and literally creating issues with, other marriages, for example, because I can tell you, like, you go to some of these groups, man groups and this and that, they're great, but a couple, you know, uh, when they talk, sometimes they go down the wrong path. they start to talk about their wives or their girlfriends, and they, and she's like this, she's like that, and blah 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 blah. And then they're telling this guy, and this guy's like, "Oh, hang on, my missus does that, my missus does this," and then this guy's going home, going, "You're doing something. It plays with the mind. Like your mind is very strong, and unfortunately, right, the negative part is it's there, it sits there, and it lingers, and sometimes
Yeah.
some men
Well,
and
there's going to be things on there, like I'm going to have content about negative self-talk and how to break those negative cycles, which is the first one is when you realize that the negative stuff's in your head, celebrate that because you've just gained awareness, and awareness is the first step to solving any problem. Like you got a
Yep,
leak in your oil in your
yep,
car,
yep,
can't fix it until you notice the leak, right? That's
yep,
awareness. It's the same as when you notice something's going wrong in your life, and when someone put in another men's group, "How's your head?" I mean, really beautiful message in. He says, "Guys, if you don't like where you are in your life and you think everything's fucking shit," he says that's a reason to celebrate because it means you want to be in a better place.
yep,
You know what I mean? Because if you're okay and everything's falling to shit, like that's bad, right? Yeah, but if
yeah.
you're hating it, then that's actually really beautiful. And I was like, wow, what even like all the stuff, the way I think, and I think it's very, very evolved and progressed from the way I used to think. That still added to me. And this is what I love about these situations. I've learned so much just in this podcast alone, And I would like to say the value that you both give me is tremendous and the stories you're sharing. Thank you very much. And on value, I would like to also touch on the membership of the app because, it is going to be like a small fee. I know what these guys have put into it. It's incredible what they've invested and stuff. But I, for one, will say I'll be on the app. Personal development for men will be on the app. So I'm a qualified life coach. I'm a master practitioner in NLP. I have a tremendous success rate, and there'll be many benefits for my business and massive discounts that will way far, far, far outweigh the membership. And that's one business, right? There's going to be several other businesses on there, like, up to, I don't know how many, hundreds possibly one day, I don't know, you tell me.
Yeah, who knows? Sky's the limit.
Yep,
Sky's the limit. Love it.
yep.
I love it. Guy, I just kicked my camera. That was smart. Guys, would you like to add anything else before we wrap this one up? And sky's the limit. Keep going if you like.
Yeah, look, I suppose all I'll say is just that the takeaway is that it's a stigma-free, safe space for men that's about positivity. It's not about negativity. It's about positivity and lifting people up. And, I think we can all benefit from that.
You're right, 100%, Mike. And I have spoken to a few guys, and there's a lot that call me and message me at night, and I'm happy to assist with the best that I can of my knowledge of what I've gone through. But like, there's a lot of guys out there that, you don't have to keep putting on that front, right? Like, I get misjudged, I get looked at, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's this guy's that." But I'm not. Well, I'm just a normal bloke. I'm a tradie, and it doesn't matter of my background, where I was born. I was born here, but it doesn't matter where I'm from. A lot of guys that I speak to are like, "In my country, this." I understand. I really do. I understand. It's hard. It's hard to expose yourself, It's hard to open up. It's hard to ring your mate and go, "Hey, bro, like I'm struggling." And it was hard for me. It took me a long time, and when I did ring, I thought that I rang the best mate that could help me at the time. And unfortunately, it was different. It wasn't what I was expecting. I poured my heart out, and he poured me a glass of scotch, and and it was, it's hard because as a guy, like, you don't know how to open up, you don't know where to
Yeah.
go, who to go to, and you don't know who to trust. So for the guys out there that are looking and they're like, "Fuck, it's never going to work," or you just need to harden up. Look, that's all good. But now you know that there is a place for that moment. If ever you feel or you're unsure, or you want to level up your life, like with Mark Tooley, you know, and you want to personal development better, you want to get some fitness advice, or whatever it is, or you might have a mate that is going through a hard time, a brother, a father, an uncle, you know, this this is for everyone, you know, for the tougher guys, it's for you too, man. Like it's anyone that joins and helps, it's gonna raise awareness, and it's what our country needs, you know, just a small, it's not small, but it's big. You know, Mark, we have 11 suicides a day. Okay. 11 suicides a
11.
day. Now they haven't updated that, but this is facts. Okay, it is from a very close friend of mine from the Australian man cave, and from the Australian man cave, and he's told me now that it's gone to 11 suicides a day. All right, 9 of them are men.
Wow.
Okay,
Because last year, a year ago, it was 9 a
yes,
day and 7 were men.
yeah,
Now it's
and
fucking
it's
11
it
and
is
9.
Crazy.
yes, and this is
What the fuck?
hidden from the public, right? This is hidden from people, and it fucking really angers me because, you know, look, there are great guys out there that work for the government. One of them in particular, okay, we've got Nathan Haggerty, an MP who believes in man support. He's been by our side from day one. When I've personally met him, he's been to my house, he's eaten my pizzas, you know what I mean? This guy, you know, he knows my journey, he knows my story, okay? And he's been a big part of learning and understanding man support. You know, and Mike and I, you know, he invited us to an event. That's how we were introduced to Lifeline. This guy is a great politician. Okay. This is someone that actually cares for people. All right. And, you know, there are great politicians out there. And this is the thing, you know, this app needs to be recognized by the government, right? Men's mental health needs to be recognized by the government. At 11 suicides a day and 9 of them are men. We've
Fuck.
got a big fucking problem. Okay. And it's only going up. Okay. And they're hiding this. There's been more talk, there's been more pressure, you know, with men's mental health, which is fantastic, you know, and bring it on. Like we want groups to start going hard. Okay. You know, we need to push, we need to get numbers. And, you know, Mark, the saying is a rising tide raises ships or boats, whatever the words, you know.
The rising tide lifts all boats.
There you go. The
Yep.
rising tide lifts
This
all
is
boats, and
to be applied in every
there
situation.
there is no competition, right? We're not here to compete with anyone. Okay.
No.
You know, we're not here to take people's business. We're here to bring people together, boost businesses together. Okay.
Yeah.
Boost the stigma around this men's mental health. We need to break the stigma. We need to
Yeah.
we need to make it both. We need to raise awareness to a point where the government has got no choice, okay, but to work on how we're going to help save a man's life. Okay. Um,
Yep.
whether it's through us or someone else, it doesn't matter. We're just another piece to the puzzle. Okay. We believe that we're a big piece to the puzzle, a missing piece, because it is just the one platform and we can have all of these organizations in the one place, you know, fighting for the one thing that we actually need. We need to save lives, right? We need
Yeah.
to drop that
All
number.
working together.
Yeah, we got to drop it. We got to drop it from 11. We got to get down to 0. Okay. And we're only, you know, you think about it, we're a small country. Okay. We are a small country. And to have this many suicides a day is ridiculous. But one thing also, and I'm not sure if you know, more than 30 attempts a day. Okay. More than 30 attempts of suicide a day. this is where we like, you know, these people, guys, if you are one of them, reach out to Mark as well. You know, reach out to
Yeah.
people. There are places, Lifeline does amazing work. There are there's so many places, you know, you can reach out to these organizations, the Man Cave, Man Shed, you know, there's so many. The list is long. Okay. There are places, there are people that want to help. You're not on your own. Okay.
You're
You're
not.
not
Yeah,
on your own.
absolutely. You're not on your own.
No.
Release yourself from the trap because
Yep.
we trap ourselves in our head, don't we? And it's just like
Well, we
step
believe we're
out of it.
trapped. That's right. You're right. We think we're trapped. We think there's no one there for us,
Yeah.
but there is. You know, that's what we are fighting to you know, to what we're pushing for. We're pushing for people to you know, we want to give everyone away. You know, a door to enter to get everything they need to, you know, because we want to prevent this and lower the suicide rates as much as we can, you know.
Fuck yeah. Amen to that.
Yep.
Amen to that. Mike, is there any last words you'd like to add?
No, thanks for having us, Mark. I think, such a legend and so well respected. So fabulous for you to be involved with the app and to have us on.
Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
Mark.
I'm touched.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you, Mike.
you.
Thank you, Adriano.
You're a legend, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We,
And thank you, guys. Thank you to the listeners. Thank you for listening to
yes,
our
thank you, everyone.
podcast. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. And I say our podcast, and I mean our podcast because would anything exist if it didn't have a purpose? You know, and without the listeners, without Mike, without Adriano, without all my guests and the listeners, then this podcast has no purpose. So it's our podcast, and I mean our as in every listener, every supporter, every guest, as much as myself. So thank you very much, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. There will be a link to the app and the Instagram page in the show notes. Please do leave a comment. As I say, it is our podcast. It's I want to create a community around it, and yeah, Mansupport will be a big part of that. These guys will be. I hope you are too. Leave a comment. Any other subjects you'd like us to cover? If you'd like Mike and Adriano to come back on, and you know, I don't know, dress up as clowns or something like this, or do whatever you want. Actually, where's my pizza? Where's my pizza, Adriano? I'm not a pizza
Well,
yet, bro.
okay, so how about we do this, right? We'll create a launch date.
Okay, and a pizza
Mark,
party.
we'll do something, and I'll bring the pizza oven, and I'll even get
Beautiful.
you stretching pizza dough with me, and
Oh
Mike as
yeah,
well.
I'm keen.
I'll just be the clown. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Stay tuned for the date of the pizza party release date, official release launch. Pizza party. If I get the word right, it will help. But thank you very much for listening. See you next
Thank you,
month.
guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Well,